Deep within the seams of existence, where the rivers of time flow into the ocean of the infinite, lies the Interdimensional Pantheon. It is a realm constructed from the debris of dead galaxies and the architectural dreams of forgotten civilizations. Pillars of pure obsidian rise for leagues, supporting a ceiling that is nothing more than the swirling nebula of the cosmos itself. This is the neutral ground of the divine, a place where concepts of life and death, wind and earth, are tested until only the strongest truth remains. Today, the stillness of this celestial cathedral is about to be shattered. Two titans of human memory, two masters of the threshold between worlds, have been summoned to settle a dispute that has echoed across the eons. On one side, the inexorable judge of the Egyptian sands. On the other, the radiant bringer of culture and wind from the Mesoamerican jungles. The air grows heavy with the scent of dried myrrh and the sharp ozone of an approaching storm. From the western gate, a figure emerges through a veil of golden sand. He stands tall, his skin the color of polished coal, reflecting the distant stars. This is Anubis, the master of secrets, the lord of the sacred land. He is the guardian of the scales and the protector of the dead. His jackal head is sleek and terrifying, with eyes that burn like cold embers from a funeral pyre. In his right hand, he grips the scepter of Was, a staff that represents power and dominion over the chaotic forces of the underworld. In his left, the Ankh shimmers with a pale, ghostly light. Anubis does not walk as mortals do, he glides with the predatory grace of a hunter who has already seen the end of his prey's journey. He is the ultimate personification of the stillness that follows the final breath, a cosmic force that cannot be bargained with, delayed, or escaped. Opposite him, the eastern horizon of the arena erupts in a kaleidoscope of emerald and gold. The wind begins to howl, not with the coldness of the void, but with the rhythmic pulse of a heartbeat. From a swirl of iridescent feathers and shimmering scales, Quetzalcoatl takes his form. He is the precious serpent, the morning star, the Ahakit who breathes life into the clay of humanity. His presence is a violent contrast to the dark austerity of Anubis. He wears a cape of Quetzal feathers that flow like liquid jade, and his body is adorned with shells and jadeite that chime with the music of the spheres. Quetzalcoatl represents the cycle of creation, the movement of the stars, and the fierce intelligence of a god who sacrificed his own blood to give the world a sun. He is the lord of the winds, and his power is as vast as the sky he commands.
You come before the scales with the weight of 1,000 civilizations upon your soul, feathered one. But here, in the silence between breaths, your wings have no purchase. I am the shadow that awaits at the end of every path. I am the stillness that even the sun must bow to when it sets in the west.
Shadow is but the absence of the light I bring, Anubis. You speak of endings, but I am the architect of beginnings. The universe does not stand still for your scales, it dances to the rhythm of my breath. You represent the grave, but I am the blood that flows, the wind that carries the seed, and the star that heralds the dawn. Your stillness is but a pause in my eternal song.
The confrontation begins not with a blow, but with a collision of atmospheres. Anubis strikes the ground with his scepter, and a wave of black sand erupts from the obsidian floor. This is no ordinary sand, each grain is a fragment of a lost memory, a heavy shadow that drains the vitality from anything it touches. The sand rises like a great tidal wave, threatening to bury the feathered god in a tomb of eternal stagnation. But Quetzalcoatl only smiles. He spreads his arms, and a localized hurricane forms around him. The emerald feathers of his mantle glow with an internal radiance, and the wind he generates is so fierce that it tears the black sand apart, scattering the memories into the void. The sound is like the grinding of tectonic plates, a roar of cosmic proportions that shakes the very pillars of the pantheon. Seeing his elemental strike diverted, Anubis moves with supernatural speed. He teleports through the shadows, appearing instantly behind Quetzalcoatl. He swings the scepter of Was with the force of a falling mountain. The staff emits a pulse of necrotic energy designed to sever the link between a god's soul and their physical manifestation. Quetzalcoatl senses the shift in the air and spins, his arm transforming into a massive, scaled limb. He catches the scepter with his bare hand, the friction-generating sparks that illuminate the dark arena like 1,000 supernovas. The strength of Anubis is cold and steady, like the weight of the earth itself, while the strength of Quetzalcoatl is explosive and dynamic, like the heat of a pressurized star.
You would try to bind the wind, jackal? You would try to weigh the heart of the sky?
Quetzalcoatl exhales, and from his lungs comes the Ahakit Titanometal, the burning wind of the fifth sun. It is a blast of pure solar heat and atmospheric pressure that sends Anubis flying backward across the arena. The Egyptian god crashes into a massive pillar of obsidian, shattering it into 1,000,000 shards. However, Anubis is not so easily broken. He rises from the rubble, his form expanding. He grows until he is a titan of shadow, 50 feet tall, his jackal eyes glowing with the purple light of the Duat. He raises both hands, and the sky of the Pantheon turns into a dark mirror. This is the Hall of Two Truths brought to the battlefield. Thousands of spectral hands reach down from the darkness, seeking to grab Quetzalcoatl and pull him into the underworld.
Everything that lives must eventually be judged. I am the law that governs the gods and the mortals alike. Your feathers will be weighed against the feather of Ma'at, and they will be found heavy with the pride of creation.
The spectral hands swarm the feathered serpent, but Quetzalcoatl does not retreat. He sheds his humanoid form entirely, his body elongating and twisting until he becomes his true, primal self, a gargantuan winged serpent of light and jade. His scales are harder than diamond, and his wings span the width of the entire arena. He flies upward, spiraling into the dark mirror sky, his body glowing with the brilliance of Venus, the morning star. As he ascends, he lets out a cry that sounds like 1,000 trumpets. The light from his body is so intense that the spectral hands of the Duat begin to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. He is the bringer of light, the enemy of the darkness that swallows souls. The two gods now clash in their true cosmic forms. The giant jackal of the afterlife against the great winged serpent of the dawn. Anubis reaches out and grabs the serpent's throat, his claws sinking into the jade scales. He seeks to pull Quetzalcoatl down into the depths of the obsidian floor, into the eternal darkness where movement is impossible. Quetzalcoatl coils his massive body around Anubis, constricting with the force of a collapsing galaxy. The pressure is so immense that the air itself begins to liquefy. The interdimensional pantheon groans under the stress of their struggle. Stars in the distant nebula flicker and die as the two gods siphon the energy of the universe to fuel their combat.
I have watched the rise and fall of every star in your sky, serpent. I was there when the first soul felt the chill of the night, and I will be there when the last spark of your sun flickers out. You are but a momentary flash of color in my eternal dark.
Then you have learned nothing from your vigil, Anubis. The dark is not the end, it is the womb. Without the night, the dawn has no meaning. Without the death you guard, the life I give has no value. But I am the motion that prevents the stagnation you crave.
Quetzalcoatl opens his maw, and instead of fire, he releases a concentrated beam of pure creation energy, the tonally, the life force of the universe. It strikes Anubis directly in the chest, where his heart would be. The impact is catastrophic. The shadow form of Anubis begins to crack, white light leaking through the dark fissures. Anubis counters by calling upon the scales of Ma'at. A giant, golden scale appears in the center of the arena, and the gravity of the entire realm shifts. He attempts to force the essence of Quetzalcoatl onto the scale, to find the one flaw, the one sin, the one moment of heaviness that will allow the Ammit, the soul devourer, to manifest and end the serpent. The struggle reaches its zenith. The scales tip back and forth, vibrating with the frequency of the universe's ultimate laws. For a moment, it seems Anubis might succeed. The weight of Quetzalcoatl's many incarnations, his failures, and his sacrifices starts to pull the scale down. The void opens beneath the serpent's tail, and the jaws of a monstrous shadow beast emerge to swallow him. But Quetzalcoatl does something unexpected. He does not fight the scales, he adds to them. He pours the entirety of his divine essence, the light of every sunrise he ever presided over, into the balance. He turns himself into pure, weightless light. The scales, unable to measure something that is simultaneously everything and nothing, begin to spin out of control. The golden mechanism shatters under the paradox. The resulting explosion of spiritual and physical energy levels the arena, turning the obsidian pillars to dust. When the smoke clears and the cosmic dust settles, the interdimensional pantheon is silent once more. The shadow of the giant jackal has receded, and Anubis stands in his original form, his scepter cracked but still held firmly. He looks across the ruined expanse to see Quetzalcoatl, also returned to his humanoid shape, his feathered mantle singed but his eyes still bright with the fire of the morning star. The battle has reached its logical conclusion. While Anubis is the master of the finality of death, he is a god of boundaries and limits. His power depends on the existence of something to end. Quetzalcoatl, however, is a god of the cycle. He represents the wind that cannot be contained and the light that must always return. In a fight of pure strength and cosmic destruction, the ability to constantly reinvent oneself and provide the energy for a new beginning is the ultimate advantage. Anubis can stop a heart, but he cannot stop the wind from blowing across the world. He can guard the grave, but he cannot prevent the sun from rising over it. Anubis bows his head slightly, acknowledging the fundamental truth of the encounter. He is the guardian of the result, but Quetzalcoatl is the master of the process. In the grand tapestry of the multiverse, the power to create and move will always narrowly edge out the power to preserve and end, for without movement, there is no time for death to even exist. The feathered serpent has proven that as long as there is breath and light, the stillness of the tomb will have to wait. Quetzalcoatl stands as the victor of this cosmic clash, not because he destroyed death, but because he proved that life is a storm that no shadow can truly tether. The pillars of the universe stop shaking as the two gods fade back into their respective dimensions, leaving the ruins of the pantheon as a testament to their might. If you enjoyed this epic confrontation between the Egyptian Lord of the Dead and the Aztec King of the Winds, make sure to show your support. Hit that like button to help us bring more divine battles to life, and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a moment of mythological history and cosmic combat. What other gods would you like to see face off in the arena? Let us know in the comments below. In this cinematic simulation, we break down the logical arguments of their mythologies to determine who would win a fight of pure cosmic destruction. See how the scales of Ma'at fare against the brilliance of the morning star in a battle that shakes the very pillars of existence. Finally, discover which god stands victorious in a conclusion grounded in comparative theology and mythological lore. Join us for a journey through the stars and the sands of time in this ultimate divine showdown.